This is Chicago Mike, your tech-challenged 86-year-old who usually advocates for senior health. But recent events require me to broaden my approach. As usual, I partnered with Gemini AI for assistance in facts and composition. The Pirates' Last Heist. Why the 2026 Iran War is the ultimate criminal act. Smedley Butler once said, "War is a racket. It always has been. It is possibly the oldest, easily the most profitable, surely the most vicious. It is the only one international in scope. It is the only one in which the profits are reckoned in dollars and the losses in lives." Well, they're calling it Operation Epic Fury in Washington and Operation Roaring Lion in Tel Aviv. The talking heads on the news are using words like liberation, security, and surgical strikes. But if you've been around as long as I have, 86 years of watching the same vultures circle the same casualties, you know exactly what this is. It's a heist. We are told that the death of Ayatollah Khomeini and the bombing of Tehran is a historic opportunity for freedom. I call it the most obviously criminal act of our lifetime, orchestrated by a criminal state that traded its soul in Dallas back in '63 and hasn't looked back since. Buckminster Fuller warned us about the great pirates, the invisible, borderless elite who outgrew nations and started treating the planet like their personal loot bag. In 2026, those pirates will have names like Trump and Netanyahu. They aren't leading, they're reacting. One is fighting to stay out of a jail cell, and the other is reportedly dancing on a string pulled by the same contributors who profit every time a Tomahawk missile leaves a tube. In the following sections, I'm putting away the polite discourse and pulling out the switchblade. We are going to look at the vicious cycles of blackmail, the grunch of war profits, and the dark history they hope you've forgotten. Grab a coffee. It's time to look at the rap sheet. Benjamin Bibi Netanyahu, the survivalist. Bibi has been underwater with corruption trials for years. By launching Operation Roaring Lion, he effectively freezes the judicial system. In a state of emergency, you don't put the prime minister on the stand. The Purim symbolism. Israeli media explicitly reported this attack was timed to coincide with the Purim holiday, the biblical story of Jews being saved from a Persian massacre. Do you see some irony here? It's a calculated move to wrap a geopolitical assassination in religious destiny to keep his base from revolting. Trump launched Operation Epic Fury without a single vote from Congress. He notified the Gang of Eight after the birds were already in the air. This is the real definition of executive overreach in a criminal state. As early as 2026, as of early 2026, the unsealed Epstein documents continue to swirl. Critics argue this war is the ultimate look over here distraction from the names appearing in those ledgers. The current heist, as of March 3, 2026. While the bombs are falling, the GRUNCH, the gross universal cash heist, is in full swing. The oil squeeze, with the Strait of Hormuz now confirmed closed by the IRGC, Brent crude is projected to jump through the roof. The shipping blockade. 20% of the world's liquefied natural gas and 25% of its oil are now trapped. This isn't just a war. It's a forced repricing of the entire world's energy supply. Ayatollah Khomeini, also 86, is officially confirmed dead by Iranian state news TV. The pirates have successfully taken out the head of a sovereign state. So, who are these pirate captains? Let's dive into some earlier reports on the Don that may shed some light on his character and his vulnerability to blackmail and coercion. A Veterans Today report centers on the Jane Doe, later identified as Katie Johnson, lawsuits. Here is the breakdown. This is the most significant case involving allegations of child rape and Jeffrey Epstein. The allegation: a woman filing under the pseudonym Jane Doe, Katie Johnson, alleged that in 1994, when she was 13 years old, she was repeatedly raped by both Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein at Epstein's Manhattan mansion. The details. The court filings described a savage sexual attack where Trump allegedly tied her to a bed and struck her in the face. It also alleged that Trump threatened her life and the lives of her family if she ever spoke out, stating she would disappear like Maria, another alleged 12-year-old victim. The lawsuit was filed and refiled several times in California and New York. In November 2016, just days before the election, Johnson dropped the lawsuit voluntarily. But her attorney at the time, Lisa Bloom, stated that Johnson had received numerous death threats and was living in fear. Then let's look at Jill Harth, 1997. She sued Trump for attempted rape and sexual harassment during a business deal. She eventually settled her breach of contract suit, but her sexual assault allegation remained on the public record for decades. Several former contestants from the Miss Teen USA pageants, some as young as 15, alleged that Trump would intentionally walk into their dressing rooms while they were undressed. Trump later bragged about this privilege to Howard Stern, oh yes, the great Howard Stern, saying, "I'm allowed to go because I'm the owner. They're standing there with no clothes. You see these incredible looking women, and so I sort of get away with things like that." This is exactly how the pirates operate. They don't follow the laws of the land. They use their wealth to silence, settle, and suppress. In the criminal state of 2026, these 10-year-old allegations aren't just scandals. They are the leverage used to keep the captain in line. If a leader is compromised by dirt involving a child, they become the perfect vessel for the gross universal cash heist because they can never truly step out of line without their past being weaponized against them. As we sit here on March 3, 2026, this just isn't just old news. In late 2025, the U.S. passed the Epstein Files Transparency Act. And just a few weeks ago, January 30, 2026, millions of pages were released. And here is the bombshell that made me want to fight. Well, guess what? There were some redaction failures. Because of a technical glitch in the DOJ's, let's say Department of Justice, release, people were able to copy and paste over blacked out text. And then there was a little FBI tip. One of the recovered files contains a 1996 FBI tip alleging that Trump witnessed the killing and disposal of an infant or young child born to a trafficking victim. The government didn't miss Epstein. They protected him because he was the middleman for the dirt on the people who run the country. The fact that Trump signed the release of these files in late 2025, only to have the Department of Justice accidentally leak more dirt on him in 2026. So just a civil war within the criminal state itself. The pirates may be turning on each other. In a criminal state, a leader isn't chosen for their virtue. They are selected for their vulnerability. If you're looking for the dirt that keeps the captain of the ship in line, the connection between Trump, his mega donors, and Netanyahu suggests a three-way leverage system. The Mossad playbook explains Bibi's leverage. More than suspicion suggests that Bibi holds the compromising material on Trump. Jeffrey Epstein's alleged ties to the Mossad, the great top pirates of the intelligent world, suggest that the house in Manhattan and the island in the Caribbean weren't just for pleasure. They were information-gathering hubs. If there is indeed proof of more vicious crimes we discussed, like the disappearance of Maria or the 1994 allegations, the theory holds that this data moved from Epstein's safe directly into Israeli intelligence archives. This explains why, in this conflict, Trump's Operation Epic Fury mirrors Netanyahu's Operation Roaring Lion so perfectly. In a criminal state, foreign policy is often just a ransom payment for a leader's reputation. The Don is also controlled by his contributors. In 2026, the influence of mega donors has reached a peak that looks more like a hostile takeover than a political campaign. Since returning to office in 2025, reports indicate Trump's net worth has jumped by billions, much of it through crypto ventures. Oh yes, crypto ventures like World Liberty Financial. The Department of Justice is currently investigating massive straw donor schemes involving foreign money laundered through online platforms. The theory is that these contributors aren't giving gifts. They are buying sovereign immunity and military protection. You donate $1 million to the PAC, and a month later the president threatens a trade tariff or launches a strike that benefits your industry. It's a pay-to-play war. Fuller argued that the great pirates became invisible by creating sovereign nations to act as their fronts. In Operating Manual for Spaceship Earth, Bucky explains that the pirates install puppet leaders to defend their trade routes. The 2026 reality. If Trump is being blackmailed by both his donors, who control his wallet, and Bibi, who may control his rap sheet, then the U.S. government is no longer a republic. It is a vessel being steered by the highest bidder. The criminal state didn't start with Trump, but it's becoming the most obviously criminal now because the pirates have stopped trying to hide the loot. They are profiteering from the Iran strikes in broad daylight while using the dirt from the 90s to ensure the guy in the Oval Office doesn't catch a conscience. Since 2020, 5 pirate firms have vacuumed up to $771 billion in Pentagon contracts. These are the real pirates Bucky Fuller warned about. Invisible entities that profit regardless of who wins the war. Example, Lockheed Martin, the undisputed king. They just secured a massive $9.8 billion contract for the Golden Dome missile shield. Their backlog is now approaching a staggering $194 billion. RTX, formerly Raytheon. Their Patriot systems are the backbone of the current defense in Israel and U.S. bases in the Middle East. Then there's Northrop Grumman, currently wrapping up a B-21 Raider program with a $4.5 billion acceleration deal expected this month to speed up production for the Iran conflict. If you're looking for who holds the leash on the current administration, follow the record-breaking $2.6 billion spent by just 100 billionaire families to put Trump back in the White House. Some examples. Miriam Adelson, $106 million. The widow of casino magnate Sheldon Adelson. Yes, that's Sheldon Adelson. Her primary interest is the annexation of the West Bank and total U.S. support for Israel. In a criminal state, this $106 million isn't a donation. It's a down payment on the current Operation Roaring Lion. Elon Musk, $130 million personally and $200 million via PAC. Now acting as the oligarch-in-chief. His company, SpaceX, has tens of billions in government contracts. Through Starlink, he literally controls the communication lines of the wars on both sides we're watching today. The crypto army, groups like Defend American Jobs, poured in $40 million. They aren't interested in borders. They want a world where pirate currency, crypto, replaces the dollar, and they're using the chaos of war to devalue traditional banking. The blackmail is double-sided. The theory that Trump is being squeezed by both his donors and Bibi has fresh dirt in 2026. There's the Golden Dome pressure. While Trump touts peace through strength, his donors are pressuring him to prioritize weapons production over shell order returns. An executive order from January 2026 actually bans defense contractors' buybacks if they don't hit their war production quota. This puts the pirates in a corner, forcing them to push for more conflict to justify their existence. Then there's the Saudi-Israeli lobby, firms like Ballard Partners, connected to Trump's chief of staff, Susie Wiles, have been caught lobbying to advance defense and aerospace cooperation between the U.S. and Saudi Arabia. This creates a vicious cycle where the U.S. arms everyone in the region, ensuring the fight never ends. As we stand here on March 3rd, 2026, the smoke over Tehran is mirrored by the fog of war in our own media. We are watching the great pirates perform their latest, most visible, and most desperate maneuver. They've killed a leader, closed the world's most vital energy artery, and bypassed the last remnants of our constitutional republic, all while the GRUNCH, the gross universal cash heist, counts the cost in billions of taxpayer dollars in human life. Buckminster Fuller once said we have to decide at the onset whether we are trying to make money or make sense, as they are mutually exclusive. Today, the criminal state has made its choice. It has chosen the money of the defense contractors and the survival of compromised leaders over the sense of a stable, peaceful world. They want you distracted by the explosions so you don't look at the ledgers. They want you to fear the enemy abroad so you don't recognize the pirates in the boardroom. But the 86 years I've spent on this earth have taught me one thing. A heist only works as long as the victims are looking the other way. The switchblade is out, the dirt is on the table, and the vicious cycle is exposed. The hour of our freedom isn't found in a Tomahawk missile. It's found in our refusal to be silenced by a criminal system that views us as nothing more than collateral. They think we're too old, too tired, and too tech-challenged to fight back. Let's prove them wrong. And I'm Chicago Mike.